Hello and welcome to July 28th, where we're reading Nehemiah 5 through 7. Now, these chapters cover Nehemiah as he's responding to some issues that Israel has. We left off last week in the middle of chapter 4, or at the end of chapter 4, rather, when Nehemiah is facing a lot of external pressure from people outside of Israel who really want to fight him and his people and cause problems for them. We start in chapter 5 with some internal issues about Israel trying to fight each other. And so that's where we'll begin. If you're interested in a more detailed breakdown of each of these chapters, Nehemiah chapter 5 is essentially Israel's trying to just beat itself up. There are people who are rich, and there are many people who are poor, and the rich are taking advantage of the poor, taking out loans with massive amounts of interest, so that they're essentially enslaving the poor to only ever work for them. And understandably, the poor people in Israel do not like that. And so there's an internal conflict between those who are rich and those who are poor. Nehemiah comes in and settles it, and everybody, the rich people, basically agree, hey, we're going to stop charging interest because God told us not to do that back in the old law, except they just didn't listen. As you go through the rest of chapter 5, that's essentially all that it is. Nehemiah is great as a leader. He leads by example. He doesn't take advantage of people, and so many people are freed from those attacks. In chapter 6, then, we get back to the external conflicts. We get back to the external attacks. Different people try to attack the wall. They try to write to the king to get it shut down again, like they did back in Ezra, getting the temple building shut down. This time, it, unfortunately for them, doesn't work. They try to get Nehemiah to do a bunch of bad things. They try to get him to come outside where he can be beaten up. It doesn't work. They try to get him to go hide in the temple, which would be improper for him to do, and it doesn't work. And so Nehemiah, instead, at the end of it, at the end of 52 days of this kind of treatment, the wall is completed and Jerusalem's finished, and now God's people have a place to live. And of course, in chapter 7, then there's a whole list of the people who did live there, people who ended up moving to Jerusalem or at least to the surrounding countryside and living in the area. The city is complete. It has a temple, so it worships God now, and there's a wall, so they're safe and protected, and that's the blessing that Nehemiah came to provide. He's accomplished his main purpose. There's still some other things to do. And so the rest of Nehemiah will be doing some of those other things, which we'll explore tomorrow, July 29th, as we read Nehemiah 8, 9, and 10.